Guys, Sean here, Shock Surplus at SEMA 2022. One of the things I noticed immediately was the lack of Tundra suspension options. There's only one other company that I've seen with product on the new 2022 Tundra, and Sway Away is one of them, AFE Control. So Stuart here, this is his beautifully built Tundra on Sway Away's new coilovers in the front and rear shock. Tell me about that product development, what you guys did. You were just talking about the air ride sensors in this that I actually didn't even know about. I didn't know there was an air ride version of the Tundra.
Right, so, yeah, the Tundra comes with multiple suspension options, one of which is a rear air ride suspension. And so because of that, that truck sits lower than, say, the ones equipped with the TRD suspension. So what we did is we set this truck up so it pretty much raises it up to match that same height. Yeah. So in the front, we've got 2.5-inch internal floating piston shocks, of course with the coilovers that are adjustable, and they raise the front about 2.5 inches. Yeah. Then for the back, to account for the automatic leveling suspension, there's a little L-shaped arm that kind of sets the height of the truck. So we extended that, which then now raised the back up, so now everything matches and the truck rides nice and straight. Solid.
And like the one, you guys probably have like one set of rear shocks that's going to work on all
yes,
models,
yeah,
right?
there are shocks on the back as well.
Gotcha.
So.
And then Nick just showed me a beautiful set of new control arms that you guys are working on.
Yeah, we've got a couple other things kind of in the pipeline. Yeah. One of which is upper control arms, and the other are sway bars.
Gotcha.
So
how does it ride in terms of before and after on the new suspension? Do you boogie with this thing, or are you kind of a slow mountain cruiser?
Do a little bit of both. The key really to the suspension is the valving, because depending on how you've got the truck weighted down and everything, if it's not set right, you're going to get a lot of bouncing around, or the thing is just going to kind of sit there and just kind of it'll get kind of boat and float around. So I had the guys kind of dial it in. They made 2 or 3 attempts to get the ride just right. I wanted to keep it closer to riding stock, and they did a really good job with it.
Did you have it built like this on the factory suspension, and then you put it onto the new Swayway suspension, or did this build kind of happen all at the same time with the new suspension?
It's all on the factory suspension. All we did is just replace the coilovers, and then knowing that there's a certain limit you can go lifting the truck without having to replace a bunch of the other components and everything else. So we didn't want to have to do that. And that's the reason why this truck doesn't have like a 6-inch lift on it. Otherwise, you got to sit there and start to relocate a bunch of your steering and the front drive shaft and deal with all that. And it's just
how do you guys think about needing or not needing a front differential drop on like these Toyota 4-wheel drives? Like, was that ever a need or a consideration or possibility? Or
well, again, depends on what you want to do with the truck. If you want to lift it more than about 3 inches, you have to do that. But for those that don't want to do that, but yet they don't want it to look stock, that's why we went the route we did. If you're going to do a lot of heavy off-roading, or you're going to go blasting down the down the washboards and things like that, then you're going to go with a little bit different setup. But for what we're going to use this truck for, that setup works. And for most people, when you look at it, like especially the Overland crowd, which is really, this truck is kind of built based on that theme. They don't go too crazy with it. They want it to be functional. They want to be able to get to where they want to go. And sometimes a stock height vehicle won't get them there. But they don't want to go with like a 6-inch or more lift, because that introduces a bunch of other issues as well.
For sure. So where have you taken this truck so far?
Really, the only trip we've taken on is Pismo. We do an annual trip out there. We take probably 20 to 40 people, depending on who can get away. And we load the things up with all the the sand toys thing, hauled my toy hauler with it, 10,000 pounds, no problem.
Oh, solid. Towing like the UTVs and stuff?
Oh yeah, I had the thing loaded
down. This thing does tow pretty well, though.
Oh, it definitely does.
Okay. I haven't driven it yet.
They've done a really great job with this truck. It's the 3.5 twin turbo non-hybrid. Sway Away is a company that we bought and kind of brought it into our entire AFE kind of portfolio. But the AFE Power side, so we've done intake, we've done exhaust, We've done boost tubes. We've done some electronics through one of our
Tubes
sister
for the turbo.
for the intercooler. And then we have another company that we purchased that does our electronics for us.
Okay.
And so they put one of our Scorcher modules on it as well.
What does the Scorcher module do?
So the Scorcher module, basically, it's kind of a plug-and-play type device.
Yeah.
It doesn't overwrite the ECU or anything like that. It just kind of piggybacks on top of it.
Yeah.
But we'll get, on this vehicle, I think we're getting about 40 to 50 horsepower, same amount of torque increase.
Wow. Okay.
And it's noticeable. Yeah, basically it plays with the fuel mixture. It kind of works with the stock ECU.
Yeah.
So again, you're not overriding anything.
Wow, that's solid.
And it gives you a good increase. It's like it makes a difference between the truck downshifting a couple of gears to take up a grade versus staying in overdrive. The other thing about this truck, one of the big complaints about it was the fact that it didn't come with any front tow hook. I told the guys in R&D, I said, one of the big complaints about this truck is that it doesn't have a front tow hook.
Yeah.
And so the guys looked at it and they tried a couple different ideas, and what they ended up doing is they designed this tow hook to mount where the stock sway bar is. So you remove that bracket, put this in place, and now you've got a tow hook. We put it out there and we've gotten some feedback, people saying, well, it's too high, you're gonna hit the plastics and stuff. But if you're stuck and you need to get this thing out of a thing, you're not gonna complain about that. You're gonna hook that thing up and get that truck out.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is it's really accessible. We introduced it initially in red, and then now they want to introduce it in more colors. So actually, these aren't even released yet, but we'll be getting them out here pretty soon.
Cool. Well, I love the build. Thanks so much for walking us through it.
Yeah.
We're going to keep an eye on, and we're going to definitely start moving some of these coilovers ourselves. Well, I'll visit you guys down in Corona.
Come see us.
And we'll get some updates.
Sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Okay, all right, thanks.